All right, and his name is John Cena.
You.
What up? It's like an airplane check. Check one. Before I put this on. Wow, that's up all the way too. Must have hit this shit. Yo. Sounds good. Alright. Where's all my lights? My lights shut off. No. Don't I have lights?
You did. You used to be cool in the back.
Yeah, what the fuck happened? Hey, dude. Oh well, okay, whatever. Imagine it just broke. Alright, we're good. Alright, let's go into the intro. No.
What was that?
It jumped on me. Alright, start recording. Play.
Expressed in this podcast are solely those of the hosts and the guests that are on the show. Please follow us on social media, give us some likes, and leave some comments and show that you're out there. Okay? Now to the show.
Yo! What's going on? It's another week and it's the White Room Podcast. What's going on, everybody? This week again, it's me, Keith. And this is episode, I have no idea. I think this is like
16.
16? Is it 16?
15, 16.
Hold on, let me make sure.
Last week was 15.
I don't do that.
Yeah, because you did 14 by yourself. So yeah, 16.
Yep. Okay, episode 16. Alright, you're right.
Damn, I'm good.
Alright, dude.
I had a heart attack, my brain got smarter.
Oh, dude, no, you know what it is? You're not drinking no more, so you're more clearer. You can see things now. You can predict the future, bitch.
I wish you could predict the numbers.
Yeah, right. I'm going to talk about that, too. There's a couple things like I've been jotting down this week. I don't know where to start. So, how's everybody doing? What's going on, everybody? We're just another week. This is actually Memorial Day weekend. This is Friday. Normally, tomorrow we're going to have a lot of people here, and I would have everybody together to do a podcast, but that'd be chaos, and it probably won't be worth it. But I don't know. We'll see what happens, and I don't know if that'll work, but we'll see. There's a lot of stuff that went on this week, man. Like I was just telling you before, the Joe Rogan podcast, they had some good shit on this week, man. And since you're off, bro, you should instead of looking at our podcast on the thing, you should look at the Joe Rogan podcast. I mean, he's over 2,100 episodes, bro. He's crazy, and he has the best people ever. Every day, how do you have somebody really cool on your podcast? He had the dude. Everybody's talking about it because nobody understands how this guy is so fucking smart. But the guy Terrence Howard was on his podcast, and he drove me crazy. I was my mouth was wide open, I was just drooling because I had no idea what he was talking about. That's the dude that was from Hustle and Flow. Remember DJ?
Yeah.
It's so hard out there for a pimp. That dude with the curls and all that shit. Bro, who would know that this guy is so fucking smart? Bro, he blew up Joe Rogan podcast, and Joe was just even sitting there wait a minute, can you explain that again? He was say it one more time. What are you saying? What are you doing? This guy, right, he had this patent of this thing that he created, right? And it was it's being used on all the, what is this thing fucking making noise again?
I thought it was my headphones.
No, it's the takeoff helicopter. It's just the fan. no way that I'm actually gonna get, because it's hot down here too. Yeah, it really, it doesn't go away. So I mean, we'll just have to deal with it. It wasn't that bad in the last podcast anyway. But this guy, bro, he had this patent that he designed, and it was like the basis of VR systems, like, you know, like your virtual reality. And he had all this weird shit that he was supplement, all these things like he created, and he carried the patent for that VR system for years. And then all of a sudden, one year, he decided to not pay for the patent again, because I guess it's a lot of money, right? You know, and at the time, you know, but you know, it's kind of weird because you're an actor, and you play in a lot of movies and shit like that, so you should have the money to. But I guess like after years and years of doing it, you're probably like, what's the sense of keep paying for this shit? It ain't making me money. Well, the minute that he stopped paying for the fucking thing, Microsoft, Apple, all these companies started using his technology, like what he made. And that patent, if you look it up, I looked it up, has made over $7 trillion. This guy, Terrence Howard, made the patent of, like, if you look at it, you're like, holy shit. This is like the basis of modern, like, computer VR technology, of how to create things, and he had it all like set up in like diagrams and how to do it and how to set it up. I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. And the way that he was talking, like he has this whole new, I don't know how this guy got so smart, or maybe like he was abducted by like aliens or some shit, and then just one day he woke up and he was like this crazy smart. Like Einstein smart, like he was talking shit, and you know he wasn't making it up. If you're talking about something that you know, and you're talking fluent with no stopping or even like, oh, what's that? Like, what's that word? Wait, yo, you're completely talking about it. Oh my God, like the world needs to protect this guy, because he'll end up like either dead or missing. And he brought his process, his procedures and all this stuff to that scientific guy. Oh man, what's that black guy's name? Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's who it was. And he was like, listen, this is what I have, like, you know, procedures and stuff like that for science. And he basically laughed at him. And he was like, you know what? I laughed at him because they were like, yo, you're an actor. You were just playing DJ, a pimp that had a snowflake girl that you were selling for sex, so that you can make a rap album, you know? And you look at that and you're like, yo, don't judge a book by its cover, man. You know, this guy is fucking brilliant. Like, how do you just sit there? You know, I mean, he came from a rich, not a kind of a rich family.
A wealthy family.
Yeah, he came from a wealthy family. And he was, you know, heavily educated. And I couldn't believe, like, the stuff that he was rolling off. And then he even talked about other shit, like space. And then he came up with a thing saying that he can recreate Saturn, right, without space or everything. I was like, I was like, yo, hold on, put the brakes on. You just passed my level of intelligence. I have no idea what you're talking about. And there's no way that I can even go and look in a book or try to read stuff. So I went on his website. Dude, the guy is real. He has so many formulas and stuff. He has this thing that he created that's what do he call them? He called them something like linchpins or something, and it was a way of flight, and it was like a motor, right, and had a fan in it. And these things were what they octagons? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 6. There were 6. So was that me or you? Oh, that's not. That was Parla. So there were 6, and they were like flight vessels, and there was like a lot of them, and they all connected together, and they can all connect more and more, and the more and more they connect, the more that they can lift. They can actually lift things. So what they were saying is like, listen, this guy might have just found out how, like, the Egyptians and everybody else used this technology back in the past to lift the blocks for the pyramids. Like, this was stuff that was shown on, like, the hieroglyphics and stuff like that, and this was just kind of decoded, and this guy just decoded it. Nobody else did. You know what I mean? And he's going off, and he's mad humble about it. Like, he's humble. He's just like, yeah, man, this is for the greater good. If we can, you know, this is stuff like changing the entire periodic table and saying that wavelengths are also part of, yo, this is mind-blowing, dude. And after that, yo, TikTok blew up. And it was like all week, all they were talking about was Terrence Howard. And they were like, yo, like, every single person was basically like, dude, what the fuck happened on Joe Rogan this week, yo? Like, you know what I'm saying? They were like, some guys were like, Joe should have turned around and said, hey, enough, like, chill, you're over everybody's level, like, nobody's gonna understand what you're saying, like, you know? But it was just so cool, like, just to see that stuff. I love watching that, and like finding people who are smart, intelligent, and, you know, can come up with things like that, that even makes the science community, who are supposed to be the leading.
This guy?
Yeah,
oh,
him.
He's smart as hell.
Yeah, Terrence.
Yeah.
That dude, oh my god. Yo, I know, like, he was into science and shit. Like, he would...
He's really intelligent.
Yeah,
I never had to look him up, but yeah, I know he's all...
He was always into, like, when he would go into interviews and stuff, he would talk about some weird shit, and people would be like, you know, the belt between Mars and Jupiter used to be a planet, and that planet was actually broken off. Yo, he went into some crazy stuff, like, a while ago, and I was like, huh? Really? What? Like, saying that they can join the mass of the asteroid belt around Mars and Jupiter, all this weird stuff, and I was like, no, well, okay. But then when he sat down and talked on Joe Rogan, I was like, yo, what, you got the science community hanging up the phone and calling you a joke? What? Maybe they should sit back and say, let's test his information. If we could test it, and if it comes out to actually work, then guess what? The guy's not a fraud. He's real, man. Yo, and why would you be afraid of somebody who has the information, like, of furthering our technology, our stuff? And then after that, well, actually, he was the second, the next day, whatever. But was it like that? Hold on a sec. I have the episode. I'm gonna pin it on our YouTube video. Okay, it's still working. I'm gonna pin it on our YouTube video. So, like, when you go on our YouTube video, when I post it, you can actually just click the link and watch it from Joe Rogan. Yo, it was brilliant. Then there was another guy. Yeah, dude, this was days apart. He was episode 2152, and this guy 2151, episode 2151. This guy, Risen Vayak. Yo. Oh, dude, this guy is so fucking smart, and not Terrence Howard crazy smart, but this guy is a video game creator, and he sold a couple of his companies and stuff like that, and then he built companies, and then he sold it, and then he moved on, made another company, and you know, he just kept doing it, and then he came to a point where he was actually working on simulation theories and simulations, making video games like smart, making them interact more like an AI kind of deal, like you know, your GTA or something. Like, you shoot somebody, and then one of the NPCs, you know, a character that's not you or a friend or whatever, turns around and goes, oh, you just shot him, and then they start running, or they call the cops, or they do stuff like that. So they're having an idea or like, you know, a brain, like a running. And this guy was talking about that, and he was going on and on. He was like, do you ever think that we're actually in a simulation? And Joe was just like he must have had a rough week, Joe, because he had him, then he had Terrence the day after, bro. And it was so funny, and they were going back and forth, and he was like, listen, he goes, everything that's set up right now, he says, points to the fact that we're in a simulation, that this isn't real, nothing of this shit is real. He says, everything that we make, and we can make on video games, would make you doubt your existence. He goes, there's computers that actually can think, which is your AI now. But before that, he says there was computers that are actually set up to have the human thought. He's like, so when you're in a video game and and they say, well, do you want the artificial intelligence or do you want the NPCs to be smart or, normal? And if you put smart, they're actually thinking. He was like, so if you're hiding around a corner and you're shooting at somebody, they're going to find a different way, not coming forward at you, but they're going to find a different way to get around to you or under you or any possible way that they can that would show what's legit on the map, meaning not like just reappear underneath or next to you, but find a way. And he was like, this is the weirdest thing to say. He says, but artificial intelligence, which everybody is like dealing with now with the AI, he was like, what happens if this is us from a different time? He goes, do you know that some of these computers are calculating and expressing and showing like real human feelings and emotions? He goes, which is ridiculous. He goes, the first group of these computers, they actually shut down because they were like, when they turned the switch on some of those robots that they considered cybernetics kind of deal, cyborg, whatever, and they would talk to the robot and the robot would talk back and everything else like that. And then he was like, there was that one time or something like that like one of the robots said, well, the end of humanity is soon to be coming or something like that. And they were like, what the fuck did it say? And stuff. And he's like, this is something that it's possible that we're not living in a world that we're like, this world isn't what it's supposed to be, or it's not. And he was like, this basis, he says, it goes beyond people thinking about flat earth, about firmament, about the religious scriptures, about everything else. This is more like a matrix, if you want to. He was like, what they're saying is like the Matrix was a documentary, like of a real situation, meaning like this was real. Bro, it was completely crazy. Like after I saw him and I was listening to the conversation, because I listen to podcasts all day at work, so I have my headphones in and I'm listening to this guy. I'm like, wow, I'm totally blown away. And I'm like thinking about it. I'm like, wow, this is true. This could be true. This guy is right. It's out there. Like the technology is grown so much, and we are allowing it to. Like they're talking about Terminators and all that crazy stuff, and how a robot could be 500 times as strong as that we are. You know what I'm saying? And then we can and if it has some kind of personality or some kind of intelligence, it could really either be our friend or it could turn on us and kill us, easily too, And it was just like, wow. And then the next day, Terrence Howard, I was sitting right when I saw it, I was like, it's so hard out here for a pimp. And then he started talking, and I was like, what? What is this guy talking about? Oh my God. But it's crazy, like when you think about it, because a lot of these science guys and stuff like that are coming up with these weird theories and all this shit that makes you actually think, and you're like, dude, can this be true? Yeah, can this be true?
Like, where did that just come from?
But yeah, I mean, holy shit! Like, I was like just jotting down notes and stuff all week because I normally always like put things together so that I could have something that we could talk about and shit like that, just in case we are having a podcast. But it's crazy. It's like Terrence Howard is like debunking modern day physics, and this guy is talking about simulation theory in the whole idea of video games. Which is true though, because a lot of these video games are getting fucking smart, and it's like it feels like you're going against another player, meaning like another guy like a block away or something, and some of these things are so smart, and it's ramping up, and it's kind of scary too when you think about it, because imagine us not having control of our own destinies, and then like you go on and there's people that I did a podcast last time, and it was about that guy Bashar, the guy, what is his name? Sutton talks Bashar, and he's supposedly channeling some kind of alien, right? And he's been all over the place, and I mean, he must get paid really well to do this because he does shows and talks, and he does the part really good. It's Daryl talks Bashar or Daryl channels Bashar. You could even look at that yourself. Like I'll attach that to the YouTube too. It's Daryl channels Bashar, and he's supposedly, who knows if he's mental or something wrong. Like, he doesn't completely say that he's actually talking to an alien. He's saying that it could be just something with his subconscious, like that he has another personality, because he goes into a trance state. And they hooked him up the first time, well, one of these events, they hooked him up to a monitoring system. And they saw that when he went into his meditation state, that his brain activity spiked, and it was spiked the entire time. Like if he was actually running a marathon or doing super complex things and shit like that would make you use all that brain power. And then like his blood. But you know what? That could be just like a person learning how to train to do something like that, or maybe meditation actually gets you into that state that your brain is working more. Or, I don't know, but I watch him a lot because I got him set on my TikTok and like that, and YouTube. He's on my YouTube too, and I watch like all the new updates and stuff. And he basically his whole idea of stuff is positive. Like he talks about how being better as a person, or being better as a being, not a human being, like a being, meaning like we're in the third dimension and there's 4, 5, and then I think he said sixth dimension is no bodily form. It's just you're in some kind of the cloud. You're in the cloud. You know what I mean? It's some weird shit, man. You gotta look at that stuff. I just I set it up like every week because a lot of these guys that like. There's so much shit that I put down this week, but there's so much of the stuff that's going on that like people are trying to debunk the debunkers, and they're trying to debunk our science groups like NASA and shit, because people aren't believing this stuff. And I don't know where I sit. Like every day, like I'm like, all right, listen, we're on a globe. We're definitely on a globe. We have to be on a globe. Because why would all the other planets be round and then we would be flat? Come on, that's fucking stupid. Like, why would you think that? Like, But at the same time, it's maybe the other planets are bogus. Maybe it's bogus. Like last night, like I was just telling you, I could see the moon from my room, and I could actually see the black spots and shit without even using the iPhone camera. I was looking at the thing, and I was watching it go from one window all the way to like this. I was like, dude, I need to go back to sleep. It was like 1 o'clock. And I was like watching it. And then I put the phone and I was trying to focus in. My windows were dirty, so I couldn't, but I was focusing. I was like, oh shit, I could see it getting closer. I was like, you know what would be cool? Like if I had a good camera or like a telescope. I could sit that shit up right in my room, and at 1 o'clock at night, when like last night was full moon, that shit was nice. And I could look in and then just take pictures and shit. I mean, there's nothing you're really gonna see up there. I mean, it's just the moon, bro. It's a weird looking. It's a lot of guys on TikTok. They have a page and shit, and at nighttime, well, what's night for them? Whatever night time is for them. They just put their camera up at the moon. They have like those Nikon 900s. They're like $1,000 camera, and it has incredible zoom. Like they're zooming into the sun and seeing the sunspots on the sun. But that doesn't make any sense though, because the sun is so fucking far away. You're talking about 93 million miles away. The moon is only 270,000 miles away. So how are you seeing the sunspots on the fucking sun? And it's crazy because they put a filter on it so that it doesn't burn out the view. And all you see is like, you see the sun like a ball, light, and then you see black spots on the sun. I'm like, holy shit. And then one guy was going through the filters, it was like orange, and then blue, but then you could see all those sunspots, and you're like, holy shit, that fucking sun is supposed to be 93 million miles away. How is it that a camera that could zoom all the way into the moon, right? And you could see the ripples on the fucking moon, right? But it can also zoom all the way out 93 million miles away and still grab that. Makes you think, and it's like, maybe the sun isn't 93 motherfucking million miles away.
Yeah.
You know? And that, there's this dude, the fittest flat earther. Fittest flat earther? Yeah. He bought one of those Nikon 900 cameras. When they found out that they were using these cameras to do that shit, the company pulled no more. You can't buy no more of those cameras. They're like, I don't know if it was NASA or they were saying it was some kind of space agency, because the cameras were $1,000, and it was just a regular camera with a fucking lens that was like this, and it zoomed in and out. It's crazy, and they put it like on a tripod, and they have a remote control, and they can actually sit there while it's hooked up to the computer, and they could just move it and zoom in and shit. So they don't even have to be with the camera. They could be in the house, you know, and they're checking and going through the skies and shit like that. And I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, now, wait a minute. You can't buy it no more? If a company was selling the camera and they was selling it like crazy, that would be a plus thing for the company. Company would be like, yo, I'm going to make more and charge more. You know, jack it up.
Yeah.
All these guys on TikTok are buying the shit out of it. Or YouTube or whatever. Like, even some of these sky chasers, like, you know, they look at the stars and the constellations and shit. They had them too. You know, they weren't doing the same thing that the other guys were doing, but, you know, it's just a, you know, potential to do it. But then you would think, wait a minute, like, why would they stop it? And then I went on to their website just to see if they were lying, and it says out of stock. And you're like, holy shit, is it really out of stock, or is it they're just not selling it? And then if you go on eBay and you look up the camera, it's going for like $5,000. Because, you know, now people are like, oh shit, I bought it for a vacation, and this dude I'll sell it for this amount of money. It's like, I wish I had the camera. I would fucking sell it. I don't need that zoom. I don't care about looking at the planets. You know what I'm saying? That'd be another thing. God, I do all this other shit, and then I'll be standing on my roof, sitting there at nighttime, taking videos, looking. Everybody on the street will take pictures of me. They're like, hey, look at this guy. What is he doing now? Be like, yo, look at the moon. It's fake. Oh, dude, I couldn't do it. People would be like, yo, this guy's off the rail, bro. But it's crazy, like, when you think about it, and it's something to think about, like, you know. And how do they judge, like, oh, the sun is this far away, but it's not to this, but then you could see shit on the sun, but you could still see shit. It's like 275,000 miles, all right, 90 something million miles. How? And that dude, the flat earther, he has the same camera, and he was zooming into the moon, and he was like, oh shit, what's this star above the moon? And it's changing color like the lights on these LEDs. So he zoomed in, and you can actually see like a large star or some kind of mass, and it was changing colors. And it could be just the changing colors, meaning from like space, like the way that, you know, little light breaks and stuff. So it's like looking at it and you could see it shifting colors. But he was like, I looked up to see what star that was. He goes, and that star, they say, is 68 million light years away. Light years. We're not talking about like 96 million miles away. We're talking about light years. So like he said, if that star is light years away, we're talking about Millennium Falcon traveling through fucking light and everything. He says, just to get there, but that star, I can see it. And I can see it with detail, with the changing colors and everything else. He was like, how far is that fucking star away, really? He goes, tell me. He goes, it doesn't make any sense. He goes, they need to make sense of it. And one thing that was cool was this week, There's this priest, I think it is. I don't know. I think it was a priest, but he's he's in a scientific community, and he calls this thing that's on TikTok now. It's called The Final Experiment. It's on YouTube and it's on Facebook. It's on everything. So what he said is that we're going to prove that the Earth is round. He says, and this is how we're going to prove it. We're going to go to Antarctica. He says, and there's a spot in Antarctica that you have sunlight 24 hours a day. He says, and the reason why you have sunlight 24 hours a day is because the Earth is a ball, and it spins at the lower axis, and it always gets sun. And he was like, that's the final experiment for everything that's going on between YouTube and everything else about everybody saying that the Earth is flat. He goes, I'm going to pay for my ticket, which is going to cost $30,000. He was like, anyone who wants to come and prove that the Earth is flat or the Earth is round, you're more than, you can come. You just have to pay your own way. He goes, but I'm going to even ante the deal up. I'm going to pay for one flat earther and one globe guy to come with me. He goes, so I'm going to put out 60 grand out of my pocket to take one of the most deniers of the globe and one of the guys who's the denier of the flat, and I'm going to take them with me. He goes, but I won't say who I'm taking. I want to see who wants to come first. And they already got one flat earther and one globe guy that's going to put the $30,000 out to go and prove. Now, if you're a flat earther and you go there and the sun doesn't go down for 24 hours or whatever it is, I don't know how many months, because there's a part of Antarctica where the sun stays up for months or something like that. And just like in Alaska. Yeah, you go there and there's a part where it stays dark for months. So that's just the proof that the Earth is a round ball, because the way that it spins on its axis and how it travels around this and that, whatever. I get lost in that shit. I try to, I within breaks and stuff, I sit there and I try to read it and stuff and get into it. But imagine that, going there and, say if you're a flat earther and the sun don't go down. How do you explain that? You have to go home with your tail between your legs and be like, damn, I gotta delete my TikTok. Or if you're a glober and you go there and it's not true. God forbid you give those flat earth guys any kind of ammo when it comes to proving that the Earth isn't round. And I mean, you grow up and you're like, as you're a kid, you're forced, basically the scientific stuff that we knew when growing up was Earth is round, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, seasons, spin, axis, rotation around the sun, the planets, the solar system moves at the same time. The planets move, and then the whole galaxy moves around at the same time. There's so much movement. And, you're like, well, what happens if it wasn't true and it is all made up? Too many movies came out, like Truman Show. That was like a crazy movie, and then King Kong, that last King Kong, when King Kong threw, it was like a tree or something, he threw it through the sky, and it actually broke a panel in the sky, and you actually saw like an exoskeleton of a building or something behind it, and that was supposed to be like prehistoric world. People, is it, I don't know if it was when the Truman Show was made, it wasn't too, we weren't in that part of was it too much, everybody now is seriously believing flat earth or something like that. I mean, did it open people's eyes? Yeah. And then fuck, the Matrix came out, and then everybody's like, red pill, red pill. You know what I mean? Red pill, wake me up. And then other people are like, oh no, it's not about science, it's about Republicans and Democrats, it's red and blue pill. Be like, are you really comparing the fucking Matrix to politics? It's like, did you see where Neo, Keanu Reeves woke up? He woke up in a pod. Has nothing to do with the fucking politics. But, you know, of course, they got to jab that shit in and be like, yo, it's politics.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
everything became politics.
yeah, everything just like, well, you know, with everything that's going on with Biden and the Democrats and Republicans, there was a good thing too this week. I posted it, but it was about how even a lot of Democrats are coming forward now and saying, yo, I ain't voting for Biden. I'm not voting for Trump, but I am not voting for Biden. Like, what was it? The Rock? The Rock came out and said it. Rock was like, I'm not voting for Biden this year. Definitely not. He goes, but I am definitely not voting for Trump.
Well, he's part of P. Diddy's parties.
Yeah, and he was another one too, P. Diddy. Like, oh, I'm not voting for Biden. Okay, because he's not helping you in your little fucking shit right now. And definitely not voting for Trump, you know? So that's good. You know what? You guys who are not voting for Biden, sit at home, and us people who are voting for Trump, we will be there. I will be there just like them with 2 fucking pencils or pens or fingers to press different buttons on every side and be like, yo, my vote counts. It's crazy. And they were saying that how a lot of Democrats now are like really getting like disgusted with what's going on with, you know, the Biden politics. And not only that, like people are starting to wake up and are like, listen, Biden is actually using the DOJ to prosecute or go after, using them like a gang to go after Trump. And Trump is just knocking them home, baby, every time, knocking them home.
Bill Clinton, $880,000 he paid Monica.
Right.
Not one thing came up on him?
No, not at all. Listen, that's the weakness of like any guy, bro, and any woman too. It's the same thing. It's sex.
It's still hush money.
It's hush money regardless of how you look at it. And if it's okay for him, and Bill Clinton got caught with a lot of shit. So if it's okay for him, you know, how come it's not okay for him, for Trump? You know, like I was saying, we were talking in work about it because, you know, the guys get all heisty, but a lot of the guys now that are at work are like, yo, I'm voting for Trump. Fuck this.
Well, they just had the Trump rally in Bronx.
Yeah, the Bronx. That was good too. I saw that. And I was just like, and he actually paid, what was it? It was 2 performers that were actually, it was their concert. He actually paid them so that he could have the rally. He must have paid him big to take over that rally.
Dropping a dime for him.
Oh yeah, and yeah. You know what? Maybe, who knows? Maybe they even asked for money. They were like, "Yo, Trump, go ahead. You know, just remember me. Please remember me if you get in, because if something happens to me, my first phone call is not going to be anybody I know. It's going to be Big Daddy Donald." You're like, "Yeah, I know that guy. He's good." Free.
It's amazing how they just don't realize like Biden's the worst in the whole.
Everything is going downhill beyond anything, and even though they're saying like right now our inflation is actually 4% or something like that, I don't know if that I don't believe that number, because what was it, in 2022 into 2023, we were at 9%. We were at the highest as it was. And now they're saying it's like 4%.
Oh, right about that.
I don't know about that, because Dick's just, if that's the case, then you know what, these companies are fucking us, because it came down and you're going to keep it riding high because you think that's going to be the new norm. Nah, fuck that shit, bro. There was a comparison of like the foods from McDonald's, Wendy's, and Burger King. And you could see like on, I think it was a cheeseburger, or was it a thing of chicken and McNuggets? But there was a 200% increase in pay. It went from, it's all crazy. And then like you go to McDonald's, like the kids went the other night to get McDonald's, and they were like, I spent $40 on McDonald's. I said, you got 2 small bags. What the fuck? I was like, a long time ago, yo, $40 would get you a whole bag of fucking cheeseburgers plus another bag of chicken nuggets plus a drink. I was like, yo, that's what it's wrong. It's completely wrong. Our greed, if it's even greed now at this point, is just way out of hand. We need a super reset and to get back to, you know, where things should be, like, or where they would be comfortable, you know, because nobody's pay is going up like that.
No.
Nobody's fucking pay is going up. You know what I'm saying? And if you're lucky, like even for me, you get $1 increase for a year's worth of work, and that is top performer. You know, so if you're like, oh, you did great this year, Rob, perfect, your numbers look perfect, you get $1. What the fuck did I just work for?
And they get billions.
Bro, the management, of course, always gets the soak up. But then, you know, you sit there and be like, all right, thanks for the $1, but you know what? No, something doesn't add up. No, because, you know, cost of living costs more than $1, you know? And you're like, how does this even make sense? But then, God forbid, if you're at your job and you had a good year, but you had meets, you know, you made meets, meaning like you met your performance, whatever, basic level, meaning going to work 8 hours and 40 hours a week. So you just did whatever you had to do. You get like 15 cents less. So it's like, what was the difference of being the high performer compared to, you know, just being the regular employee, you know? And, you know, for anybody, it's like there's not enough money to be made to keep you comfortable. Like we're you know, I've noticed it, and it's like a long time ago we had more. Meaning like when we went to, like today, we went food shopping in 2 different places, right? So we would come home with more. Sure. Meaning like, you know, instead of buying 2 waters, maybe we would have had 4 cases of waters, you know? Instead I bought two cases of 40 packs, right? So normally maybe I would get 4, and you know, we bring home more chopped meat and all this other stuff. There was more, like after 2 days or so, especially with, you know, the kids and stuff, you're looking at an empty fridge or leftovers that, you know, of course the kids ain't gonna eat. You know, God forbid they'd even look at it leftover. You know, and that's my playground. I'm like, oh, I'm taking that shit to work. I don't even care. Oh, it's got a little green on it. Oh, that's just frost burned. No problem. 4 hours in the truck, that shit's gonna be melted. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, or it's like peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and shit, you know? And it's not, you know, I don't see it there. And a lot of people are like really, they're not, like I was saying last time, I was like, you know, what does it seem like? Nobody wants to hang out no more. Nobody wants to do anything. You know, and this is a cool opportunity, is like being on a podcast. You know, not just me and you sitting here talking to each other. Other people can enjoy listening to what we say. And you know, my father is actually one person that listens to our podcast. He called me up last week on Saturday. He was like, oh, guys, send me that link again. He goes, I lost it. I'm on my phone. I'm listening to your podcasts. And I was like, what are you listening it to? Like, I was like, Spotify? Are you on that? He goes, I don't know how to do that. I was like, all right. I was like, so you're going through the Facebook links. And he was like, yeah. He goes, oh, I can't find that page again. I say, look up the White Room podcast. He goes, no. So I was like, all right, I'll send you the links when I get off the phone with you. He was like, yeah, I've been listening to all your podcasts. He goes, yo, that's some, he says, that's really cool. He goes, the stuff that you're talking about, you know, it's entertaining. He was like, it seems like it's always you and Keith though. And I said, oh, you want to talk about Chris?
No show, Chris.
Yeah, he was like, yeah. He goes, but it's cool. He says it's entertaining just with you guys too. He goes, it's the information that, you know, you're bringing forth that, you know, make people think. Like, he goes, I even sit there and go, oh shit, yeah, you know what I mean? And I was like, oh, cool. Well, thank you for listening. You know? And then I turned and looked at our views, and we had like 50-something downloads. And I was like, yo, just keep watching them. Keep watching them. I don't even know. I think those links I put up, I either put up the YouTube link and the regular link for like Spotify or for Apple or something like that. But that was cool. But you know, that's all you need, is just like a couple people that actually, you know, want to keep watching the podcast, you know. And I reached out to like the people on my Facebook. I did 100. No, was it? No, it wasn't 100. It was under 100, because then you get like banned. I did like 80 something people. I like sent the podcast to 80 something of my friends on the friends list, and 42 like accepted it. And I was like, all right, it's cool. The other 42, go fuck yourself. I was like, I'm gonna find you now. Who didn't accept the invite?
You're not invited.
Yeah, I'm gonna uninvite you. How you gonna feel about that?
You're not allowed on.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? Like sometimes people don't want to deal with it or whatever it is, but it's cool. You know, it's a start for anything. Just like with Joe Rogan, though, he started in his basement in his house. Same shit, and they were just sitting against the wall, black wall, had 2 mics with a table, and you know, but he's always been more like celebrity than we are. Do you know what I'm saying? He was back then. It was what MMA was fighting.
Yeah.
You know, so but he would have people on and stuff like that, and that's how he grew his thing. But it doesn't. It just takes a couple of people to start listening and start getting the views and shit to get picked up. You know what I mean? And you know, we're talking about stuff, you know, that is basically going on every week that a lot of people are like, you know, looking at, you know. And soon we'll be going back to football.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, man. It's not too far away now, man. Not too far away now. So, well, you know, we'll see what's going on with that too. Let me see what else I wrote down here. Oh, it was funny. We were also talking about that before, about the flat Earth thing. So they found, because they were saying like for how many years they knew that the world was flat. So they found a globe that was made in 1504, right? And they think, they don't know, they think the globe was made by Leonardo da Vinci, and it says on an accurate map, and it's a globe, and it's a globe with all the continents on it, not the way that we look at it, but there are different continents. So that's a little jab in the side of those flat earthers, you know. I mean, listen, you have your opinion, this and that, and I mean, I could be wrong, but that's what I did see.
Well, it would have to be round because at one time everything was connected.
Yeah, everything was connected at one time, and then how did see what they're looking at is that map that I forgot what it was called. It's that map that's flat that has all the continents, and it's like on all the government buildings and stuff that has that round map with all the things on it. But if you read that map, if you read on that map says is that map was flattened out for the you know, the idea of doing work on it, because it's easier to deal and do stuff on a flat surface than it is to do it. And then it says it was stretched back out to fit on a globe. So what they did was they basically just took the globe, cut it, and then just opened it up. You know, so then what it looks like is that Antarctica isn't just a continent; it actually goes around the entire United States or world, in other words. So it looks like an ice wall. But they're saying that it's not true. It's funny, like I've never even heard of flat Earth until a couple years ago. I'm almost 50. I'm like, I've never heard of flat Earth or anybody talking about it. Like I used to go to those crazy conventions, you know, for the paranormal and all that shit, and I've never heard somebody say something about flat Earth. And then all of a sudden, it's just like a couple years, like since COVID, 2019, flat Earth just like fucking rose out of the goddamn Earth, and like right in the midst of COVID, it was like, we got flat Earth and we got COVID. It's like, I was like, I never seen it, and now I see it so much. I guess because I'm like pinned to all those websites and shit, that I like when I go upstairs and lay down, I turn on my YouTube to watch. First thing I see is like somebody talking about flat Earth or something, debunking flat Earth, or you know, if it's not Vice Script Garage, it's flat Earth. But I don't know, it's kind of weird, but it's interesting. It's shit that I follow.
That's one thing I have to do is pay for YouTube. I want to watch the Bad Chad.
Oh, Bad Chad, car guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I like him. I like Vice Grip Garage. I like Rusty Acres.
I watch that.
Yeah, I like this Rust Brothers. They're on YouTube too. There's That other dude, I really like, the white guy with the dreads. What was that called? Ross Valley? No, it was something, but they're really good. And then there's a couple guys like Vice Grip Garage and oh man, dude, I watch them all the time. They're good friends with Vice Grip Garage. It's Kevin and Mook. I forgot what the group was, but I watch him. I watch that group. I watch those videos all the time. Let me see. I want to make sure I give people props, bro. Hold on. First thing that comes up on my thing is Ho. Kevin and Mook. Junkyard Digs, yo. Junkyard Digs.
Let me see.
Oh shit. Hold on.
I paid $100 on eBay
Top
for
one.
this Nintendo Switch that was in a house fire.
These guys are good. Yo, Kevin, let me tell you something. That guy from Vice Grip Garage, yo, he is fucking smart when it comes to cars. Yo, he goes and he's also got his own TV show on the Hot Rod TV, whatever, Motor Trend or something like that. He's got his own thing that he rescues cars now. But he goes and he was like, I think he was like kind of the first. And he was the first to go out and be like, buying a car, sight unseen, 1,000 miles home. I have to get it running from wherever it is and get it home to his house. And he's got like acres of land too. And then for the TV show, he gets them, fixes them. He never gets home. Like he never. He's always cool. He's like
We've had cars like that.
Yeah, he goes, it's the lightning swirters and the things and all these, like the way that he talks like in like southern kind of deal, but he was actually from up north, Michigan I think it was originally, and I followed him from the very beginning, like when he was doing his very low budget like GoPro videos and shit, and I was following him for a while, and then he started getting like picking up, you know, this, and then he had a lot of friends too, like that Kevin and Mook, and Mook is the girl, and she's actually a mechanic too that throws a wrench, and they go and they do revivals, and they just find these cars abandoned, and they're like, well, listen, do you want to sell it? And they're like, well, it's been sitting there for 23 years. Oh, great, cool, that's what we want. You know, we want to get it running after it's been sitting for 23 years. And, you know, the Vice Grip Garage, he gets the cars home, but he doesn't get them home, like, painlessly. You know what I mean? Like, he'll fix the car, get it running, maybe put one brake, fix it so that one brake works. And, you know, just limp the fucking thing home. And he'll get halfway and, like, the radiator will blow up. And then he has to pull over, like, I guess he has a contract with O'Reilly's. And he goes to like all the O'Reillys and they allow him to work on the car in the parking lots. And he'll pull up to O'Reilly's, get all the parts he needs, fix the car, drive away, and then he'll be like 85 miles away and something else will blow up. And he'll be like, okay, where's the next O'Reilly's? Yeah, it's really good. You guys should look at it, watch it. He's got some good videos. Him and that Junkyard Digs. Junkyard Digs has more videos than Vice Grip, but Vice Grip is like big production.
I don't think I've seen Vice Grip.
Vice Grip Garage?
Yeah.
I'll attach it to the video. I don't think I could get in trouble by attaching links. I don't think he would mind either. He's a good guy. He's down to earth, really humble.
Well, this guy.
Yeah, bro.
Oh,
yeah. He's got a good one tonight. He's doing a world's worst smelling Camaro. He's a cool dude, man. I'd like to meet him. And it's funny, like how he started, you know, with like nothing, doing it just from his house and stuff, and now he's got like he's got a barn, a farm. He's got this huge warehouse that has like five lifts in it. So now he's doing it like, and he has so many cars now that he's like revived, and he does like racing now too. Like he's done a couple cars, like the Liberty Chevelle, and he painted it to look like the American flag, like 1776 Constitution thing. Yeah, it was called the Constitution. Yeah, and yeah, it was pretty cool. Like I've been following him like every week. I was paying for the Motor Trend thing or whatever it was to watch his shows, the revivals. But they, you know what sucks is like when he's doing it himself, it's all his production. So you know, like when he goes home to do the editing, and if you know he's got like 100 hours of video that he has to compress down to. The last one that he had was 3 hours long. That was fucking long. That car was a mess.
I used to watch a guy that did. He would get like a Mustang, Ford Mustang, and change it into a diesel.
Yeah.
It was that heavyset white guy.
Oh.
Family guy.
Yeah. He also had
The Hellcat.
Yeah.
Hellcat.
The black Mustang was the one that he put the diesel, the Cummins turbo one in it.
Yeah.
What was that dude's name? I know who you're talking about. He's cool too. Yeah. Everything that he touched, he put a fucking diesel engine in. Yeah. He put a truck engine in.
Yeah.
Shit. Yeah. Yeah. He was cool too.
You see the Mustang come down the street, it'd be blowing
black smoke.
Oh,
Yeah. But there's quite a few of those guys that are on like YouTube and shit, and they're entertaining. Like I like to see the revivals because especially some of the older guys, they go for those cars that are like from Model Ts and shit, where you have to crank the fucking engine. I mean, Vice Grip Garage did it too, but a lot of these guys really just go for those, and like they'll pull up and they'll be like, no, this has been sitting for 40 years, it's locked up. We're gonna have to put a whole bunch of oil in it and then let it soak, and then if not, we're gonna take the head off, see if we can get the crank to turn. If it turns, then we can get it to start.
Most of them cars weren't even 4 cylinders; they were like 2 cylinders, 80 horsepower.
Yeah, a lot of those, and they didn't even have coils. They didn't even they just had spark plugs with wires that went into the dash, and then there was like these little coil resistors. And you had to crank the coil resistor to give power to the combustion, which was crazy because that's like not setting up any timing. You know, how do you even set? It's just constantly sending a spark, you know, so that you have ignition. I mean, listen, that's the old school stuff, like from a long time ago. But it's cool watching those videos because not only is it like calming, you know what I mean? It's like, especially with him from like Vice Grip, you're like, I actually feel bad for this guy because you know this car's gonna break the fuck down. So, you know, he's like, you got 700 miles before you get home. Oh my god, you know. And he's cool. Those ones, the Junkyard Digs, they're good too. They, but you know what? These guys who live in these countries, like in a country and stuff with more land, well, we're not saying city. You know, they seem to have cars everywhere. Like all these farms have cars parked on all over the place. So you know they're just like pulling up to their friend's farm and be like, "Yo, you still got that Buick on the land?" Be like, yeah, it's still here. Yo, let's get it running.
Oh, here he is.
Who?
The guy. I just sold a 1,500 horsepower diesel engine into a Mustang.
Yep, that's him, bro. The heavyset white guy.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was his name now.
He had in one of those videos his garage got robbed. In that one, that's the one where the Mustang was in it. Somebody broke in and robbed him. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, that's him. Yeah, I watch those. They're, you know, like I said, they're entertaining. You know, and it's cool because like even for Vice Grip on the regular TV thing, like our Motor Trend, it's set up. It's like you don't see him actually working on the car. Like he'll be like, all right, we got to work on the brakes. Next thing you know, he's on the carburetor. They already got the car started. So it's all just set up for the show, for the hour. You know what I mean? And his stuff is like, you know, when he actually goes out and does it himself for his website, I mean his YouTube channel, that you actually see it, like he'll sit there and be like, all right, I gotta work on the brakes, and then he'll be like banging his head across the thing. You'd be like, I ain't got no goddamn brakes. You know, and it's just funny, you know. It's like that's something that was your passion now became your career. You know, so you don't, you know, you're doing something that you actually love by recovering these cars, but you're probably getting them for really cheap because they're bombs, you know. But you're picking up a lot of like beautiful gems. You know, you're taking them home, especially a lot of these cars that have been packed in people's garages or some shit, and you're like, you open it up, you're like, oh shit, you got one of them? You know, he took a DeLorean, took the old engine out of it, and put an LS1 in it.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so now the DeLorean was, you know, really going back to the future with an LS1. Don't worry about that 88 miles an hour shit. It's gonna get there. But that's pretty cool too. So, what else did I write down for this week? Okay. I did the final experiment, Da Vinci's, Joe Rogan, $7 trillion. You saw that thing this week too? I know this is local, but that they were doing that Bayonne, not Bayonne, but I don't know who, Port Authority, or was it the transportation thing, doing that workup to see if the bridge, it was going to cost $8 million for them to do for the Gothels.
The Gothels.
Yeah, no, the outer bridge, I'm sorry, the outer bridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, about doing a thing to see if they should either rebuild it or extend lanes to it for $8 million. I mean,
isn't that the one they just redid?
no, Gothels they did, but what they did was they built the new Gothels right next to it and still had the old bridge running at the same time. So when it was time for it to go, it was basically just transfer everybody over to the new road and just collapse the old shit. You know what I mean? Take it apart. Basically, that's what they should be doing with the outer bridge, because the outer bridge is basically, when you're going across the outer bridge, it's like the old Gothels. You could actually just put your finger out the window and smack the next guy's car. You know what I'm saying? It's that fucking tight.
Oh yeah, it is tight.
It's tight, and it's, you know, it's the same shit. Like when I'm working that far out in Staten Island and I'm by the outer bridge, and I have to come up, like you're taking full 40 down, and I usually get off at exit 1 for the bottom part of Staten Island. And after exit 1 is the bridge, and you sit there and you're like, holy shit, that's close. You know, it's so close. And
yeah, you're like,
yeah, it was never designed for cars and trucks that were wider. You know what I mean? And you know, what was that? How long ago was that bridge built? You know, they never really seen like or thought farther into the fact of how many cars people would be, or how many cars would be passing that bridge every day. You know, because back then maybe it wasn't as much. You know, and you know, people are like, oh, they should have been smarter and built it bigger. But at that time, the bridge was good enough. You know what I mean? And it was good for how many years? We're talking all the way up to now. What is it, 100 years old, the bridge?
I don't know.
I don't even know. You know, so...
Where's it, the outer bridge?
Yeah, outer bridge. You can look it up! Look it up! It's probably close to 100 years. Because the Bayonne Bridge was like, what, 1900s? Wasn't it? Like 19 something?
Oh, wait. I forgot to put how old.
Come on, fact checker! Check that fact. Every time you click, you think you see the power
Yeah.
wave go bloop, bloop, bloop.
1928.
Yeah, 1928, bro.
It's almost 100 years old.
Yeah. I was probably like all at the same time, like the Bayonne Bridge, the Outer Bridge, and Gothels
Bayonne Bridge is 93 years old.
93 years old?
Yeah, that's what it says.
And what was the old Gothels?
96.
96 years old? Wow. What about the Verrazano?
They don't have that piece of shit bridge.
That connects New York.
That's not part of ours. That's another.
That bridge is pretty old too, though.
Oh yeah, it's probably.
But that's like a newer bridge. That's got the upper and the lower. That's probably not that old.
Who cares about it?
But that's pretty old. You're talking about our Jersey bridges here going into Staten Island was basically
Well,
almost
you
100
know,
years old.
Bayonne Bridge was old.
Yeah, I knew that because I remember it said like when I used to cross over the bridge all the time. It was 1900 something.
Yeah.
And I forgot what year it was. Like, but I remember 1900 something. And you know, you're like, oh shit. You know, but when we were younger, it was like 1992 driving. You know, now we're in 2024. But I mean, we got a new bridge. Nah, not really, but I mean, same bridge. They just made it go higher.
It's funny because every time I drive over it, I'm like, why are people so afraid to drive over this?
I don't think I've ever like had that feeling either. Like, because I always had to cross the bridge. The only thing I did notice is that the top was lower.
Yes.
Yeah, that's all I remember.
Well, when we drove over with the box truck, it was like,
Yeah, so that it's like, you know, you definitely know that the bridge went up because the arch is lower.
Yeah.
So, okay, it's up a lot more, but a long time ago, like that was low. Like you had a lot of room between the pass and the arch. You know, it's just it's weird how they brought it up. You know, it's still the same old archway. You know what I mean? Reinforced and whatever else they did to it, but they just brought the bridge up more higher.
well, they couldn't touch the arch because they made it historic.
Oh, they did? You would think that like the
But that girl
Gothams-
that did the lights,
Oh. What lights?
when they did the lights on the bridge. The
Yeah,
red,
yeah,
white,
yeah.
and
The
blue.
red, white, and blue?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was a girl.
Oh, really?
It was a little girl back then,
Oh, that's cute. Yeah.
and that's why they made it historic.
So it's the LED
Yeah.
lights that are on it sometimes when they light it up. Yeah. That's cool. That's old stuff too. So what else we got, man, this week? We're only into an hour into this podcast. I thought it was longer than that. I must have rambled to like 50-something minutes of technology, aliens, and space. It's funny in this book, right? A long time ago when I started where I'm at, this dude pulled up to me, the CWA union, we call it head, whatever, boss. He pulled up to me in the truck, and I thought he was one of our supervisors because he had a black shirt. He was like, "Do you believe in America?" And I was like, "What?" He was like, "Do you believe in America? And do you believe in the word union?" I was like, "Oh shit." I was like, "Who do you represent?" I was like, "Come on." I was like, "We're in Union Local 3. And he was like, CWA, because we represent the United
That was
States.
that bridge ain't that old.
Is it?
1959.
Yeah, I was going to say, bro, because that has like a newer look to it because it has the upper and the lower decks, you know?
George Washington Bridge, 1931, 1932.
And it's crazy, like they were all built within the 1900s. So, if you were an iron worker at that time, you had work forever.
Gothic Bridge, 1925 to 1928. It was finished.
That would have been great, man. Like, say if you were like at that time like an iron worker.
Well, Drugs Neck Bridge. Like bridge.
What was the bridge? Thug's Neck? Drugs Neck?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's New York.
Oh, Bronx and Queens.
Yep.
1961.
Yeah, you see? It, like, production and all that shit boomed in the 1900s. They're saying
Manhattan Bridge, 1909.
1909. Holy shit. That's a rickety dickety bridge too. Yeah.
That's 100. What is it? 115.
It's not long though. It's not long.
1909. Yeah, it's 115 years old.
Yeah. Look at the tunnels. The Hudson and
I don't think they would build that.
No, they're young. Because remember, they were using the bridges to get across to New York. Because you had the George Washington to get to New York City,
Yeah.
and you had the Verrazano to get to New York City, and then you had the Manhattan to get over to Manhattan. They were
Holland Tunnel, 1920 to 1927.
wow. See, yo, it's crazy. That was a good time to live in 1900s, man. You always had a job. You could do anything you wanted. Anything that had construction, you could work anywhere. That's where probably all the trades really blew up, was during that time, because you would need everything. You would need your iron workers, your electricians. You would need everybody to work on that concrete masonry. You would need
Lincoln
everything.
Tunnel, 1935.
Yeah, see. So they built the Holland Tunnel first.
Yep.
And that was lower Manhattan, and then Lincoln was the higher part of Manhattan by MSG, Madison Square Garden.
You know we take it. No,
Yeah.
we take the Holland line drive up.
You can take whatever. Holland, go up west side, the west drive.
That seems just so much easier.
It does. You know, well, you know what? Getting out of there from the Holland Tunnel, making a turn,
Yeah.
trying to get onto west. That's a fucking gridlock all the time. And the traffic going out to the Lincoln Tunnel, And then once you get to the Lincoln Tunnel, once you get out, I mean, you're already there. You know, Avenue Americas, all that shit. But it's still, it's like you're in the middle of all the traffic right there, you know? But it's crazy how old those bridges are and those underpasses. And, you know, they're still doing, and especially like if you watch that, that video about how they built the Holland Tunnel and all that shit, that's crazy. And not only that, even the underwater cables that we have going all over the continents, that's interesting to watch too. How we, you know, the original telephone wires, trunk cables were, you know, dropped in the water. Electric too.
Yeah.
And you wonder where the fuck that shit is. Like, you wonder how deep, you know, like for the, to cross over from Manhattan to, oh, you know, it's funny. One time when I was in Cablevision and we were in the middle of Newark, and we were on, what was it, Broad Street, and we had an outage, and, you know, guys came in and they were sawing the street, and they put the blades down too far. They cut us, but they really cut like fiber and shit that were going to Manhattan. And we cut the ground up and this and that, and they were like, oh, that fiber that they cut also is feeding Manhattan right now. Manhattan is like out. And we were like, has nothing to do, we don't have Manhattan. And they're like, no, but we have fiber that we paid for that circles through everything. So what we do is we sell or rent the fiber that we're not using. And they're actually being used by a different company, but we own the fiber. So we gotta fix it. And you're like, oh shit, but it's not our fault. This fucking guys, you gotta blow up.
I don't know how.
Guys sitting there with the saw, be like, yo, Doug, is this supposed to be 6 inches or 16? oh shit.
Yeah.
Happens all the time. Yo, this week, what was it? Sunday or Monday? It was one. No, it wasn't. Gil and them were in. So it had to be Tuesday. But I was working on an outage, and the Department of Transportation, they were repaving the street. But the guy turned around and he had the dump truck, and he took the dump truck and he lifted it up all the way to the top, like, you know, like to let it go. You can even, don't even worry about that. He lifted the dump all the way back so that he can get all the asphalt out, not having to like push it out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, and then he drove like that. He wasn't paying attention. Went through the street, like the intersection, and grabbed all the trunk cable plus Con Edison, all the power, everything, and just kept going, kept trying to go. And the poles on both sides of the street were bellowing in, and the one broke and fucking went straight down and took all the cable, the wires, power. There was like 3,500 customers out for Con Edison, and it was all coming from there. And we lost like 3 of our nodes, which was like, I don't know, 1,200 customers, and we couldn't get it back up. And like I was running around doing the outage, and I was like, bro, I ain't got no light, I ain't got shit, it ain't nothing. And you know, I didn't. When I first got there, the street was closed off, like from the street, the main street that I was on, and it was by a firehouse, and there was all fire trucks down the street with cops and everything else all over the place. So I was like, maybe it's just either a fire or an accident, because that shit happens all the time over there. So I just kept going this and that. So then when I was done verifying that the shit wasn't working, I drove back around, and I was like, oh shit. I was like, yo, we ain't got nothing. They didn't fix it until, that was like, I don't know, 10 o'clock in the morning. They didn't get that fixed until, I don't know, it was like 8 o'clock at night that everybody was out. And, you know, because all those customers are out and, you know, people are calling, they had like all management hands on deck from calling everywhere. Like, we gotta fix it. They're like, yo, Con Edison's not even done. They got poles down. What are you gonna do? It's not like that we can just butt in real quick and say, you know, Con Edison, don't worry about the power. Let's just get the fiber back up, and you know what I'm saying? It's crazy, but it's crazy to shit. Now, I was thinking too. I was like, yo, the dude that was driving the truck was outside the truck and he had a cigarette. He was like chain smoking the fuck. He was like, I was like, we were sitting there talking and shit. I was like, so when are they gonna take that guy for a urine test? But I was like, is that in his near future? Is he get a urine test? And I was like, when he goes back to the office, what are they gonna say to him? Like, dude, like you just cost us probably $1 million. Just they were paving the street for New York City. It was New York City DOT. So it's New York City business. It's, you know, city business. And, you know, you go back to the office and you probably, like, you're the idiot of the week or month or whatever it is, like a picture of you. Like, don't be him. It's crazy, bro.
Probably just slap on the wrist.
Yeah, I don't know, man. There was a lot of people there. There was a union guy there. There was inspectors. There's a whole bunch of shit. They kicked us out of the area. They were like, oh, we're doing an investigation. I was like, okay. It's like, you're not a cop. Like, you know? And they were like, well, this and that. Like, well, obviously you can see what happened. The guy led the dump up all the way up, wasn't paying attention, rammed into it, thought he kept going, and couldn't. The truck wouldn't go because the poles are going down. But they had one pole that was in front of a person's house, and the pole was like this into the house, like it was real close to the house. I was like, yo, that dude was lucky he stopped, because if that pole snapped and went into that house, yo, somebody could have got hurt. Yo, you know what I'm saying? Or they could look. It would have been even worse. That would have been like, when you go back to the office, I need you to clock out and never come back. I don't care what your union delegate says. I don't know. But that's about it.
That probably happens a lot. Not here, but other places.
Yeah, no, it's an accident. Sometimes, it was very hot that day too. It was very hot. And, you know, he's probably working heavy and this and that, wasn't paying attention, put the dump up and didn't think maybe, I don't know, like when you're working in an area like that, you got wires and shit like that. You got to pay attention to what's above. You know what I mean? Because we even have requirements of height of what we can have our stuff across the road. So, you know, people with trucks and shit like that, like on these side streets that we live on, like every so once in a while I see a 53-footer come up here, like a tractor trailer. I'm like, oh, and I'm watching the wires, like, don't hit my fucking cable wire. You know?
That's what happens on our block.
Yeah, and they tap them. They drive and they tapping them. Like while they're driving up the block, they tapping them. And if they snag like a drop going to somebody's house, it's not gonna. They're not even gonna know. It's just gonna pop like a straw.
That's exactly what happened at my
Yeah.
house.
Yeah. So it's like, but you don't know. Like this street supposedly is deemed, because the poles are higher and the equipment's higher up on the pole. It's deemed for truck access way. That's what I found out, because we have the overpass that goes over the street. The street is supposed to be up higher, and I've always noticed that too. Like when I first moved here, I was like, why is the fucking amplifier like that high? I was
That's a good thing.
yeah, well, it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. Like when you're climbing a ladder, and you know what I'm saying. Like back then, well, no, when I moved here, I was in the outside plant too. But you know, there was plenty of places that I even looked at that shit myself when I had to throw a ladder up on a strand up that high. Be like, damn, bro, why is it this high? Man, I gotta climb up there. Like every day, you got your life in your hands. You know what I mean? Because it's like one wind blow, or if the thing moves, or holy shit, whatever.
Yeah, I would never be able to climb poles.
Yeah, I don't know how and I was always just scared of heights, and I was afraid of heights, like on rides and all this other shit. And I was like, when I left, when I went to Bell the first time, Bell wasn't bad because it wasn't that high. It was maybe like 12, 14 feet high. That's not high. And I got used to it. And like even in Bayonne over here, I forgot what block it was. I think it was actually 40th Street. It was 40th Street, I think. Is when the pole, not the pole snapped, the bolt fell out of the pole when I had the ladder up on it, and I fell to the ground on the ladder. And I was belted to the ladder, so I didn't flip over. But when I hit the ground, I didn't really hit. It like sprung, and I fell up and fell down on the ladder like 2 or 3 times while I was hitting the ground, and it fucking hurt. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. Career's over. I'm done. And then, you know, I had off like a month and a half, you know, on disability, but it was workers' comp, I mean. And I was like, all right, you know, this and that. And then when I came in that next day, they were like, this is your new job. Here's a bucket truck. Here's a air tool, air compressor. I want you to drive around. Here's a map in Bayonne. I want you to drive around to every single pole that's owned by Bell and tighten all the bolts. I was like, is this a penalty? Like, are you making fun of me? Like, you know, I don't. And they were like, anybody would die for this job right now. You're getting paid the same amount of money, and we're basically telling you just to use a bucket truck. They were ugly bucket trucks. They were the ones with the bucket on the front. So you had to turn the generator on the back, no PTO, and then you turn it on, and then you would control it from there. They were fucking garbage. But you didn't have to go up high. And I was like, all right, so all I have to do is drive around all day, go to all these Bell Atlantic poles and make sure all the bolts are tight. And they're like, yeah. And I was like, okay. And I did that for a while. And then, everybody hated me. I would go to the meetings and shit, and they'd be like, oh, look who it is. Did you have a hard day today? I'd be like, man, like, this is my fault.
I was like, yep.
After a while, I started being like that. I was like, yeah, man, I found like 5 bolts loose today. I only did 6. You know, in actuality, I was doing like 20 poles a day. Like, you know? Because, you have to park and this and that. And those ones ain't like they're not like the bucket trucks that we have nowadays that you could stretch across. You could actually park across the street and still reach the pole from across the street. I use that all the time with the double arms, so that if I can't find parking on the street side, meaning like pole side, I'll park across the street and then extend it up and over the traffic to go. And then you're above traffic, so then all you see is the cars and trucks flying below you, and you're like, oh man, I gotta get this done, because if somebody hits me, I'm fucking done, you know. But at least it's easier. But then I was like, you know what? I did that for a while, and I was like, I'm done. I went to the corrections, and I worked there and I was like, I'm done with that too. And then my friend Clary was like, he came to my house to do my cable, because we lived in the apartment building and I had dish, and I was like, I'm getting rid of that dish. It's fucking garbage. And like every time I was running up to that top floor on 16th Street to clean the dish off with ice and snow. Yeah, it was terrible. And we were watching TV and it was like in the snow, and like, yeah, you would see the signal level go, burp, 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 burp. And I'm like, I gotta run. Ran all the way up the stairs, go on the roof, clean the dish, come back down, and watch TV for another couple hours before it happened again. And he came to my house. He was like, yo, Rob, what you doing? I was like, about to get fired from corrections. I'm on a case or some shit. And he was like, yo, Optimum's hiring, right? And I was like, yeah, I don't know if I want to do that again. And he was like, it's this amount of money. And I was like, it's more than corrections? And he was like, yeah. He goes, and it's good benefits. You can only work 40 hours a week. You'll be working in Bayonne. He goes, that's perfect, bro. I was like, I called him up the next day, and I was like, yeah, I used to work for Bell Atlantic, backseat program, and all this other shit. And they called me in like before the end of the week was even up, and I walked in there and they're like, oh, you're hired. I was like, oh, okay, cool, all right. And then I was sitting there, I was like, wait a minute. I didn't want to climb poles anymore. I was like, because in Bell we used to gaff the poles. If there was no steps on the pole, we would gaff it. And then that's what I think it completely did, like the damage to my knees and legs was gaffing. And then once I was done with that, I was like, wait a minute, I'm actually climbing higher, because the cable spans are like maybe 3 feet or 2 feet higher than what I used to climb. I'm like, oh man. And our ladders, of course, were taller. And that's the first sign. It's like, we had 22 and 18, I think it was, in Bell when I first started. When I got to Cablevision, the ladders were 28 and 32. I was like, no. And then I was just like, whatever. And then eventually, I just stopped, like, being afraid of falling. It was more like afraid of dying. You know what I'm saying? And they were like, oh, be more afraid of being electrocuted than falling. Be like, no, motherfucker. Yo, you can fall quicker than being electrocuted, bro. Seriously. Getting halfway up the ladder, you could fucking fall, you know? But then it's just, but you know what? Doing it for so many years, my body's destroyed. My lower part of my body is gone. My knees, my joints. Like, I think I have like a hip problem now. Like, I've been having this issue in my hip. But it all like turns to like the way you gotta bend your legs to, or even hockey maybe fucked it up too. I don't know. Whatever. I don't know, I gotta find something else to do, bro. I gotta do something.
You're 50 years old. You ain't going nowhere else.
I can't, yeah, but I can't. I know I can't start a new career. That's a done deal. I have to like make money myself, bro. You know, I have to do something productive that's not gonna, you know, beat my body up anymore. 50 years of like, all right, let's say from, well, let's just give it like maybe 35, 36 years of beating up your body. It's gotta stop. You know what I mean? Body's not gonna do it no more. You know. Not only that, I'm pigeon-toed. So they warned me about that a long time ago when I was younger. They were like, listen, you're going to have some chronic problems with your legs when you get older because you're pigeon-toed. And I was like, thanks for warning me. Screw that cat, bro!
He's ghost.
Yeah. Well, we got an hour and a half, basically, so we can just close this out. Tomorrow is, you know, a lot of people are going to be having barbecues and shit. Be safe, drink responsibly, right? And
Right here, drink ginger ale.
there you go, ginger ale from a guy that used to pound the beers.
3 weeks without one.
What?
And a Bloody Mary.
Yeah, no, but it's good, man. You're getting your health back and shit. That's what's good. And you know, it's always nice to go out and have like a beer and shit. It's just you got to get your shit back together. Yeah, that's about it though. So everybody have a great week.
2 more weeks.
Yeah, 2 more weeks and you're back in your job, which will be back to normal.
Oh.
Yeah, dude, you're gonna be all right. You're gonna pass the stress test. They're not that hard. I would think a stress test would be hard for like a cop or a firefighter. That must be one hell of a stress
Well,
test.
I don't really have to walk. They don't make you run.
Oh, they're gonna make you walk?
Yeah.
Oh, then that's perfect, bro.
It's just to see if the arteries are pumping blood through.
So you're just gonna do the walk on the treadmill?
Yeah.
Oh, so you don't even have to jog. Oh, that's easy, bro.
And now you're not actually allowed to jog on a treadmill.
Really?
It fucks up your knees.
Oh, well, okay, Mr. Treadmill.
No, it was a guy that did the weightlifting.
Oh, yeah?
He was showing people, he was a doctor, but he did like running on a treadmill and walking.
Yeah.
It actually messes up your knees.
That last time I did that stress test a couple of years ago, they made me run. They didn't make me, they wanted me to do it, but it was 5 minutes. It wasn't.
And I'm going to Sea Caucus to do it,
Oh, okay.
and I'm getting a ride.
So what is it, 15 minutes they're gonna make you do it?
15 to 20.
Okay, yeah. You should do it, like if you have a treadmill at home, you should get on a treadmill and get yourself prepared for it. Because you don't want to go there gasping for fucking air, dude. You're gonna be like, what, 15 minutes? Oh, come on, dude.
I'm going to be guessing for air anyway. Just use the valves. The arteries.
you're gonna be done with that. You're gonna pass out on the floor and you're gonna roll back
the
on the
lady
treadmill.
said that they have people go on within 2 minutes and drop.
Oh, really?
And they walk.
Yeah.
And she goes, you don't run.
Right.
She goes, she goes, your doctor don't make you run.
Good. Good. What do you mean, 2 minutes and what, fall? Like give out?
Yeah.
Well, that's bad.
Like have heart attacks.
Wow. So that's what they're doing. But,
Yeah.
you know, it's kind of dangerous too because it's like if they have a stent or something, heart work done, and then all of a sudden they go on a stress test and they can't do
Well,
it.
most people take a stress test before they have a stent. I did the opposite.
Oh.
I have a stent, then I have to go for a stress test.
Oh, I get it. To
Most
see
people
what-
go to see if how the valves are working,
Right.
and then that's when they decide, you have to go.
I wonder what they look for, cause like even like when I do it like a workout, like on like a treadmill, like I'm running, I try to get my heart rate up. But I don't run. I definitely don't run. My fat ass don't run. But I do like 1.8 like speed. So what I do is I try to get my heart rate up to at least like 120, like 120, 125 in that burn zone. I even have a hard time keeping it there. Like, you know, it'll go up to 125, and then I'm like, all right, cool. If I can keep this like 5 or 10 minutes, then I could, you know, get burning. And then it's like while I'm doing it, I'm like at that 120. Then all of a sudden, I look like 2 minutes later, I'm back to 100, and I'm like, no.
I think they make us do it on an incline,
Yeah.
so I just have to wear.
Well, it's just more stress
Yeah.
if you want an incline.
I just have to wear better these
Shoes.
Shoes.
Yeah. Well, like if you get your treadmill running, you should do like maybe 2 minutes a day. Like you know what I'm saying, 2 minutes a clip. Meaning
Yeah.
like if you could walk 2 minutes, then do another 2 minutes, and then or you know what, like walk around your block.
Well, you can walk down a park.
Yeah, you walk down the park. Just have somebody with you, just in
Yeah.
case. Yeah.
Like Autumn was like, "Oh, you should come to the gym." And I said, "I can't." I said,
Well, walk to the gym?
"No, walk on a treadmill." in the
Oh,
gym."
all right.
I said, "God forbid."
I don't know if that would be a good because it's slanted, and
Not even that. It's just
it's hot there too.
Yeah.
It's very hot. You know that up there too. All that heat rises, and you're on that top where the windows are.
No, I'm talking about Planet Fitness.
Oh, Planet Fitness.
What gym are you talking about?
I thought you were talking about the cheer gym.
No, that's a track.
Yeah, it's a track, but it's a walking track.
I ain't running in that bitch.
Well, I'm not saying that.
And it's air conditioned in that
That's
place.
true. Yeah.
Dude,
Planet Fitness. What track they have in Planet
no,
Fitness?
it's a treadmill.
Oh, treadmill.
What track are you talking about?
I don't know. Didn't you say track?
Yeah, Hudson County Park.
Oh, bro, where the fuck was I for a second? Terrence Howard took me. I'm sorry, it was a different space and time.
Hudson County Park.
I kept talking about tracks. I was like, we were at cheer the other night. That's what I was like. Oh, I
It
was
was
like,
freezing.
yeah. Well, that's good that at least they got air conditioning now. You know, they never had it before. No, that shit upstairs was hot, bro.
That waiting room, bro. I had a blanket and a sweatshirt on. Well, she
Wow.
was sick. She was sick, but it was cold.
Well, you know what? That's good though, because then when the summer comes, when they get the 100-degree temperatures,
Oh yeah.
that inside is going to be so
And
comfortable.
they don't control it, so
Yeah, exactly. So they're, I mean, but their rent is mad expensive.
yeah. But they get air conditioner.
Yeah, air and heat. So
Yeah.
it's like a complete thing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I mean, I'd rather take the air conditioner and pay high rent than.
Oh yeah, bro.
Sure, heat.
Bro,
Pay-
from where they came from, where they barely had any heat and they had no
Yeah.
air conditioning, and all those fans that they had to buy about that time just to do all that shit. They left most of those fans too.
I thought we took them.
No, there was like a couple of the other ones, those big silver ones.
I would never left them.
Yeah,
I would have put one right in your backyard.
they're probably like fuck it, you know.
I would put one right in your backyard. We'll have a freaking winter in the backyard.
Bro, that day when we were throwing everything out to get it done in one day, remember that
Oh, that's
shit?
crazy.
But you know what's funny? It's like that day we busted our ass so much and shit like that, and you didn't have any problems doing anything.
I don't know.
It's weird, right? Because that should have killed you. Serious? That like say if me
I went
or
to the hospital in December. There was nothing wrong with me.
yeah, but I'm saying like if me or you had any kind of heart problems,
Yeah.
that day would have killed us. But it didn't. You know what I'm saying? And that was some stressful fucking day. I was covered with sweat, bro, all day long.
And filth.
Yeah, that. Oh my god. And then when I got home, I felt like I was like, I couldn't even lift my arms. I was like, oh my god, I can't go to work.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It happened for a reason.
Yeah, wakening. Yeah, telling you yo to slow down. You know.
I mean, I dropped 15 pounds.
Yeah, bro, that's good.
So-
Anything that's positive, yo. Very positive.
So,
Yeah,
Keith dropped weight. Keith went to, he's 258 this morning.
that's good. But isn't he supposed to bulk up or some shit?
Well,
Now he's supposed to. Well, no, he was supposed to bulk a couple months ago.
yeah,
Now he's supposed to thin because of training.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or cut, whatever they
Yeah,
call it.
That's, I don't even know if he's cutting. I don't know what he's doing.
Well, I mean,
I know
he's
he
a
was
lineman.
running, I know he was running on a treadmill and he was pretty quick.
Yeah, but he's a lineman, so
Yeah.
he's got to have some weight to him. You know, you don't want
Well,
to be.
258 is a good weight.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. Yeah,
I just can't believe he just dropped 20 pounds.
well, that's good.
He was like 270. Well, it's like almost 20 pounds. He was like
Yeah, but-
275.
You gotta remember, bro. These are kids. You know, dropping weight for kids, it's like one week or 2 weeks they're eating like shit, and they're like, oh, I gained weight, and then the next 2 weeks they're like back to normal, and they're like, oh no, I'm good, and they're like, where did the weight go? If that was me, I would still be like, I'd actually still be gaining weight, even though I'm not eating the same as I was last week. You know?
Because you didn't have to cut any cutting.
Right.
I don't know.
Well, kids are kids. You know, I keep telling my kids too. I'm like, listen, stop eating like you got two assholes, because eventually
I mean, he goes out to lunch every day.
Yeah.
So.
Well, from school.
Yeah. He goes to Bruno's Pizzeria.
But you know what? He's walking all day
Yeah.
too. So I mean, you're probably getting 10,000 steps just being in fucking being high school.
Oh, that plus he walks on.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So 10,000. Then I mean, say if you go to practice, you know, I wish we had these things when we were kids, because well, you know, you couldn't even count like skateboarding and shit because you're actually pushing and then you're gliding for a lot too, even biking. But if at least it had a GPS, you know, the miles that we used to put on ourselves, bro, from morning to night. Kids nowadays, they don't do that shit.
I remember riding bikes from here to Staten Island to go over the ferry to Manhattan.
Yeah, back to Manhattan. You're like, oh, let's go to Manhattan now. I'd be like, what? No
Come
time.
back through Jersey City, right back to Bayonne.
Yeah, everybody chipping in to get fucking dirty dogs.
Yeah.
You'd be like, damn, I'm hungry. Let's get a hot dog. You know?
You just, what's that place? Papayas. It was
Yep.
50 cents a hot dog.
Well, back then things were cheaper. Shit.
I think it's only like $1.25 for $1.30 now.
Everybody put the money together and be like, yo, who's rich today?
Yeah.
Whose parents gave them some money? I'm hungry. Give me a yoo-hoo.
We used to just buy big bags of like snacks.
Yeah.
There was no food.
Nah, it was nothing. That shit
If
was
you got
those
hungry,
days.
if you got hungry, you get to Manhattan, just rob a store.
Yeah.
Just run out of the store. Nobody's gonna catch you.
Either that or you're looking for like the water drinks, like the sprinklers and shit.
Yeah.
Like you're looking for the public stuff. You're like, oh my god, there's water. Sit there and drink for 25 minutes and be like, god damn, I gotta piss.
Hey,
But those were the days. Those like warriors, weekend warriors, getting on a bike and just riding forever.
right.
People like kids and shit like that now. They don't even enjoy any of that stuff. You know, it's more technology, more stuff to keep the kids at home. They go
I
out
have
for
to use
the-
the bathroom.
All right, let's just end this then because it's
All
already hour and 40. So, guys, have a great weekend. Enjoy your Memorial Day, and we'll see you guys next week. Peace.
That was an hour 40, well, because we were supposed to end it if we kept going.
Yeah, it was an hour and 40.
We were supposed to end it, and I was like, oh wait, let's talk more.
Oh, yeah, it was like 25 minutes more. All right, let me get this up.
Yeah, it's like I told Maya, I said, you know what's gonna really suck? I'm gonna lose weight, and guess what I'm gonna have to do? Buy all new fucking shirts again. I mean, it's not a bad thing, but
No, it's a good thing.
it just sucks.
Right.
Come on.
Well, you're gonna lose weight to a point, and then you're gonna hover, and it's gonna be like, you know, it's gonna be a
Fucking
point.
bottle out of drop.
It's alright, just leave that. You're gonna hover, and then you're gonna gain a little, then you're gonna lose a little, then you're gonna gain a little. You're gonna lose the most now because it's a complete change of lifestyle. Because you're not drinking anymore, where you were digesting a lot of calories. You know?
Now it's just probably all water weight.
Yeah, it's basically. Where the fuck is that thing? Oh. Gotta shut the camera down. I said I gotta shut the camera down. Later. Peace.